What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to day two of match day one of the UEFA Champions League. New format, of course, and we're going to go over each game here on Wednesday, September 18th. Of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you like making money, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, liking the video, and sharing it with your other friends, your other betting friends, and so forth. And of course, hit that notification bell. So, taking a look at yesterday for day one of match day week, we had a so-so day. Now we were up 7/10 of a unit, but that's just not good enough. And that's I strive for a little bit better. But again, looking over YouTube and just looking at what other folks are posting. Listen, man, all respect to those other YouTubers and things of that sort. But I see them posting, both teams to score minus 130, so on and so forth, minus 110, minus 150. I explained this yesterday. What I do here on this channel, sure, I can post those type of bets too. Post those all day, and it probably bump up, my success rate in terms of the bets that I get right. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide bets that are going to provide outsized gains for my listeners. Maybe I'll do something where I go ahead and do, low risk video, high risk video, or maybe give two suggestions, one a lower risk, one higher risk. But for right now, what I'm doing is I'm posting bets that I think will provide outsized gains, but not only that, bets that I think are reasonable and bets that I think should ultimately, and if you take all these bets and bet on them, bet one unit, you should be ahead, and you really should be ahead big. Like I said, we were up 7/10 of a unit yesterday. That's okay. It's a positive day. That's not good enough for me. So, going into day two of this Champions League, um, docket here, looking to do better than that. So let's go ahead and get started. Match day one, day two of the UEFA Champions League uh, competition. Here we go. All right, so first up we have Sparta Prague going up against RB Salzburg. And this is probably, we're starting off the game that I probably struggled with the most in terms of finding a pick for this game, just because, both of these teams are, I think, evenly matched. Plus, I don't watch as many of their games as I probably would like to have had. But I did actually watch both teams throughout their European or for their um, qualifying stages for the Champions League competition, and I thought both of them played actually pretty well. But just looking at this matchup, um, Sparta Prague, this is the first time in the Champions League in 19 years. RB Salzburg, on the other hand, have been in the competition, I believe, 6 out of the last 7 years. So they've been kind of a fixture in the competition over the last, better half of a decade. Looking at this matchup, again, I think we got two evenly matched teams. However, I do favor RB Salzburg, even though they are the away team in this matchup. Um, so looking at this matchup, I'm looking at RB Salzburg or draw plus both teams to score. At first, I was looking maybe at going in the direction of the under 2.5 goals. However, one of the things I was going to mention in the comment section on my video yesterday was that usually and historically early on in these Champion League fixtures they tend to be low scoring affairs. But for whatever reason, we had tons of goals yesterday, especially from Bayern Munich, where they put up 9 goals on Zagreb. And with all due respect to Zagreb, but they actually got their doors blown off in that one by Bayern. But getting back to this matchup here, Sparta Prague and RB Salzburg, I do like the double chance on Salzburg plus both teams to score. I think you know um, that's probably your best bet for this one. I think Sparta will get on the board. They're at home. And really, this game could go either way. So if you wanted to go Sparta Prague with the double chance plus both teams to score, however, I do think Salzburg is the better squad. So I think that's probably the better way to go, and you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck since Salzburg is the underdog in this one. So Salzburg on the double chance plus both teams to score. You can find that on BetMGM for plus 130. And there you go. And next up, we have Bologna going up against Shakhtar of Ukraine. And Bologna in this matchup, and actually in this competition, I believe for the first time since the 1960s. It's only the second time they've been in the Champions League slash European Cup in their history. And Shakhtar, on the other hand, although they're probably a smaller club playing out of Ukraine. They've actually been in the competition, I believe, for the last 15 years or so. So they've actually been a staple in the competition where Bologna is new to the competition. And they were one of the feel-good stories of Europe last year, um, finishing the top four in Serie A. But over the offseason, here we go again, another case of a team who lost pretty much their two best players in Joshua Zirkzee to United in the Premier League, and then also Riccardo Calafiori to Arsenal, also the Premier League. So, that's what Bologna's facing here to start their domestic season, which I don't believe they have a win yet. Yeah, so they have three draws and two losses in their last five games. They haven't won a game in Serie A just yet. And on the other hand, Shakhtar is pretty much on a roll. So I really like this Shakhtar team. However, here's the thing about Shakhtar. Because of the war in Ukraine, they have to play all of their games on the road. So they're at a major disadvantage, just coming in just because of that. But I do like the squad. It's one of those squads where, the guys on the team aren't necessarily household names, but as a unit, they always play well and they always come to compete. They do play better at home. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that this year. Their away record is not as good. But what I do like in this game is I like the draw. I think probably both teams will get on the board, so we might have a 1-1 or 2-2 type affair here. But I think there's a lot of value in the draw, and so looking at this matchup, that's probably the way I would go. And you can find the draw on ESPN Bet for plus 250. I think at BetMGM, which is my preferred bet for football slash soccer. I think it's at plus 240. So I put the ESPN Bet graphic there on the matchup graphic. So yeah, looking at the draw, I like this bet. I'm going to put some money on this bet, and I advise you to take a look at it as well. Now that we've taken a look at the 12:45 early matchups, that is 12:45 Eastern time in the United States, we have the 3 o'clock games Eastern time. First one, PSG going up against Girona of La Liga in Spain. And so here we go again with a team like Girona, another Cinderella story from last year in La Liga. Really took the league by storm and scored a ton of goals. And actually, at one point, I think they had more goals than maybe Real Madrid and Barcelona. So they were the highest scoring team in the league. I think maybe they were just right at where Real Madrid was in terms of goals scored. But over the offseason, they lose both of their top scorers, similar to Bologna, although maybe not to the extent of that. It's even worse for Girona. They lost Dobrik, who's over at Roma now, and then they also lost Savio, who's at Man City in the Premier League. Both of these guys are really, top players in La Liga. Now they're both, one's in Serie A, one's in the Premier League, and Girona's left kind of holding the bag there. Um, and of course, similar to Bologna, it's transferred over to their new season in their domestic league with Girona. Uh, Not quite as bad as Bologna in terms of their start, but yet it's not as good as what they were doing last year. PSG, on the other hand, loses Kylian Mbappe over the offseason, but they've actually been able to get off to a pretty hot start. They're at the top of the league, actually a really hot start. They've lost all of their previous five games, so PSG is, I think they have something to prove here. Obviously, the Champions League is the one trophy that has eluded this organization and this franchise, and it's the one that they really want. And I'll be honest with you, with how everything transpired with Mbappe over the last few years, I'd actually like to see PSG do well in this tournament, in this competition. And I think they will win this game. You know what? Looking at this game, I actually was looking at a lot of different bets that I like. I did settle with Dembele to score and PSG to win just because I think you have the best odds here on this. You can make the most money off that particular bet. But I think what I might be doing going forward is list, several different bets that I like and maybe rank them. This is my top bet and this is my second best. It's my third bet because I was looking at, first half PSG plus under 2.5 goals. I was looking at, a couple other bets I can't think of offhand right now. But what I did decide to go with is Dembele to score and PSG to win the game. That'll give you plus 160. I was looking at Bradley Barcola. He's been off to a hot start. He's their top scorer, but I did decide to settle with Dembele to score and PSG to win. Plus 160 at BetMGM. And now for our matchup of the day, we have Man City going up against Inter Milan, a rematch of the 2023 Champions League final in Istanbul, where, of course, famously Man City won 1-0 off of that screamer from Rodri where he won the match for Man City and ultimately the Champions League trophy. And I watched that game, excellent game, and it was a matchup where both teams were really competing at such a high level, and I think we might see something sort of similar here, and I think the result will be the same as well. This is a game that I felt really, really confident in terms of the result. And again, this is another one similar to PSG and Jona, where I think there's several different bets that you can go here. I think even a first goal from um, Erling Haaland, not an anytime goal, but the very first goal from Erling Haaland is a viable bet here as well. And I was almost going to go with that one, but just worried that maybe Foden would get a goal first or something like that. Anytime goal from Haaland, I think that's pretty much a for sure bet just by the way he started off this season. If this was last season, maybe I wouldn't go there. But the way that Holland has started off this year, I think that's pretty much money in the bank in terms of being almost a guarantee that Holland's going to put one behind the net. So, although I don't see a lot of scoring in this game, though, at the same time, these are two teams that have, excellent back lines. And I think maybe Inter has a better back line in terms of their performance uh, than even Man City. Of course, Man City is stacked on back line with perennial um, all stars basically. But looking at this matchup, looking at the value that I like, and that I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Man City to win plus under 3.5 goals. I think Milan will give a good battle. They'll probably put a goal on the board. So you could have gone with the Man City and both teams to score as well. But I like Man City in under 3.5. But if you're a little bit worried, hey, there might be a little bit more scoring than that. Maybe there's going to be 4 goals in this game, so on and so forth, a 3-1, uh, win by City. Okay, well then go with City and both teams to score. That way you're not exposed to that threshold there at 4 goals. So me personally, the bet that I like on this one is going to be Man City and under 3.5 goals. All right, next up we have Celtic going up against Slovan Bratislava. And this is where things get a little bit crazy, folks. And you might be looking at me like, he said, what? But I'll tell you what, I think there's good value in this matchup. You have a team in Slovan Bratislava that I believe this is their first time in their history that they've been in the Champions League. Celtic, on the other hand, of the Scottish Premiership, they've actually been in this matchup quite frequently over the past decade. However, they haven't fared very well in this competition. in terms of being able to get out of the group stage, get to the knockout stage. So with that being said, I don't think they've won an opening game matchup in 10 years of being in this competition. So, and here's the other thing. Celtic, if you're looking at the draw that they received, they were actually given a very, very favorable draw, especially compared to Slovan Bratislava, which has a much, much more difficult matchup. I think they're playing Man City and Milan and so on and so forth. Whereas Celtic, they really got it fairly easy, relatively speaking. So I think Bratislava, when they're looking at their slate of games here in this competition over the next 7 games, they're looking at this Celtic matchup and thinking this is one where we need to get points. I think they will. I think they will. Um, I don't think Celtic is that much better than Bratislava. I'll tell you what, Bratislava had to go through all 4 stages of qualification to get to this competition. So this is a battle-tested squad. And just looking at odds that you can get taking Bratislava, man, I couldn't pass it up. Okay. Initially, I was looking at Celtic on the double chance plus both teams to score. I think both teams are going to score in this game. I really do. But I'm going to go with Slovan on the double chance plus both teams to score. Listen, you're going to get plus 425 odds at BetMGM by taking this bet. And I think this is a coin flip to begin with. Okay. If you go out there on the internet and look at who the pundits think are going to win this matchup, most of them are going to say Celtic. But I'll tell you what, it's worth your money to go out there and take Slovan Bratislava on the double chance, plus both teams to score, plus 425. Hey, you know what? Those are odds I can't patch up or pass up. And I think I'm going to be putting a unit on this myself. And in our last game of the day, we have Club Brugge going up against Dortmund, our second place finishers from last year's competition when they lost to Real Madrid in the final. Going to keep things simple for this one. All respect to Club Brugge. They've always played pretty well, and they've played well at home in this competition. They've been in the competition quite a bit. They weren't in it last year. I think they were in the Conference League last year, but I'm going to keep things simple. Dortmund it plus over 1.5 goals. I think Dortmund just has too much firepower for Bruges. Do believe Bruges is going to score goals in this game, probably one, maybe two, but I do believe Dortmund will come out on top, at the end of this game. So, just to finish up the video quickly and be brief on this one, I do have Dortmund. I think they, again, just have too much in the attack with Adeyemi and the guy that they got from Stuttgart, can't remember his name, Garrissy, in attack, among others. So, Dortmund is a team that's always fared well in this competition, and I think that will continue tomorrow. So I would take Dortmund and over 1.5 goals. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys. Good luck going into today's matchups. Of course, if you like what you hear, like what you see, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. And hopefully, I'm able to make you guys some money. I really do think these matchups are going to, and these bets are going to hit today. I think we're going to have a better day than we did yesterday. I think going forward, it's going to continue to get better and better. Like I said, if you can hit anywhere from 50 to 75% of your bets and you're betting on plus money, even if you hit at 50%, you're going to be in the green. But again, our goal is to get somewhere in between 60 to 75%. I think most people would say 75% is unrealistic. I don't. Um, I think, that's the goal here. That's the goal, is to get somewhere in there. But again, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video, share the video, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Good luck, everyone. See you later.